Let's make a really simple, super portable, great looking GM screen. I recently made a video about making a cool collage GM screen, but I heard the process was a little too elaborate, a little too tricky. So I thought I'd take another crack at making a custom GM screen that was a little bit easier to put together. Here's what you're gonna need: a pencil and a hobby knife, a metal ruler and a cutting mat, some scissors or a paper cutter will also work. You're gonna want some rubber cement, but a glue stick or some double-sided tape will work. And then you're gonna need some thick cardstock paper and probably a printer if you're gonna be printing out the image for your GM screen like I am. I'll have links to everything that I'm using down in the description, so check there for details. Okay, first thing I'm doing is getting my image together. I'm designing this GM screen for my upcoming Kickstarter campaign called Dragontown and the Darkness Below. It's a system-neutral fantasy adventure about saving a town from an ancient darkness. There are lots of cool enemies and monsters in the adventure, so I wanted my GM screen to feature some of them. Now, this GM screen is going to be part of a box set that is meant to bring this Dragontown adventure to the table. And I think a GM screen is a great centerpiece to a fantasy campaign. The artwork can really set the stage for what kind of adventures your players are going on. Now, I'm illustrating this GM screen in Photoshop, but you can totally draw your own straight on some thick paper or find images and print them out yourself. Of course, if you're using other people's images, don't reproduce and sell them. Just keep them for your home game and making your own one-of-a-kind GM screen. The really cool thing about making your own screen is that you can totally make it whatever size you want and have as many panels as you want. The panels on my GM screen are 8.5 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. It's a short little guy, but this is kind of my favorite size. You know, I'm not really trying to hide anything behind it, but it gives me just a little bit extra space at the table to have important information on hand. And when this GM screen is folded up, it's actually the same size as the Dragontown book because everything is gonna fit into one single box set. Okay, for printing out my images, I just ran up to the UPS store near my house and got the panels printed on 100-pound cardstock. If you can get thicker, do it. The sturdier and the thicker the paper is, the better. Now I have my 3 panels ready to go, but don't just jump straight into cutting the panels out. We need to make an extra tab that we'll use to attach them all together. I'm ruling out a 1/2-inch tab on the 2 outside panels, and I love these clear rulers. It makes lining up small measurements like this really quick and easy. Once I have my 1/2-inch tabs marked out with the pencil, I'm going to switch over to my metal ruler with the cork backing. This is the best kind of ruler for cutting out straight lines on thicker paper. Using a hobby knife super carefully to cut out each side. I'm not pressing down too hard and taking my time by making a few light cuts. This is the easiest and safest way to use a hobby knife to cut stuff out. It's important to keep the blade straight up and down when cutting. That way you'll get a nice even cut each time. Now I have the panel cut out, and I'm not just gonna fold the tab over. I'm actually gonna line up my ruler with the tab where the edge of the panel meets the edge of the tab. I'm just gently dragging the blade down the ruler to make it easier to fold. If you actually try to fold this little tab on thicker paper, you're going to get a really bumpy, rough fold that's not going to look super good. But if you take your time and do a little light scoring, it makes folding this tab over way easier. The paper just kind of gives away and you end up getting this nice crisp fold line. Now I'm cutting out the center panel. There's no need for tabs on this one. I'm repeating the steps on the right panel, but making sure that my tab is on the other side so all of these panels line up. Once I have everything cut out, it's time to glue it all together. I'm gonna be using rubber cement for this part because I think it's the best thing for sticking 2 sheets of paper together. If you don't have rubber cement, some glue stick or even some double-sided tape will work. It just won't be quite as strong of a hold. If you plan on using this GM screen for a while, I recommend putting in just a little bit of extra effort to find some rubber cement. Now, the way this glue works is actually pretty cool. You put the glue on both sides of the paper and you let it dry. I'm being careful not to get glue on any of the artwork, but I'm not worrying so much about the back side of the middle panel. If it gets somewhere where you don't want it, don't even worry about it. I don't even worry about it getting on the cutting mat because I can just wipe off the little glue boogers once the glue dries. Once the glue is dry on the two sides of the paper, then I just carefully line up the center panel with the tab and stick the two panels together. Be really careful on this part. Take your time, because once you stick these together, they're gonna be stuck together. And now I've got a pretty awesome little GM screen. I haven't really addressed what's going on the back of the screen. I still need to put all the info I have planned for this GM screen into layout, and this screen that I've just made is just for taking mock-up photos for the Kickstarter. You could totally print your own panels double-sided on each side of the paper, or you could rubber cement two pieces of paper together. I actually think that's a good idea because it would make the screen extra strong. If you go that route, I would recommend sticking the pages together and then cutting out the panels, or you could just write whatever you want on the back of the screen or stick little individual sheets of paper back there. Whatever makes the most sense to you. Now, I really hope you try out making your own GM screen. This was a super fun process and really not difficult at all. It took me like 15 minutes to cut everything out and assemble it. If you're interested in finding out more about Dragontown and the Darkness Below and how you can get this GM screen, check out the first link down in the description. The campaign launches on September 24th. I'm so proud of this book, this adventure, and I can't wait to show you all the cool stuff that's going to be in the box set. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!